link, fellas, and send it out, and we'll be good to go.
Sweet, we're live. Let's go.
We ready? Okay.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Well, welcome back to the Metasports League studios and the DigiFan podcast. We are missing JC, but we've got some solid, and we're missing LTs. Oh my goodness! Hey-o.
Skeleton crew.
We got Wags, we got Quirky, we got Peanut here for episode 020, 20th episode, fellas. I think Pete's got some news.
I do. Like, for me, this has nothing to do with anything but one of the most important bands in my life.
So it has to do with everything.
It is The Who.
The Who.
Have you heard about the Dust Up?
No. Tell me more.
So Zach Starkey, Ringo Starr's son, has been the drummer in the band since 1996.
Yep.
His godfather and his mentor was none other than the great late Keith Moon, of whom he replaced. And I've always argued that Zach Starkey plays Keith Moon better than Keith Moon. He is like everything. And they did these 2 Royal Albert Hall shows, which absolutely erupted in social media over the past week, where Roger was complaining because his in-ears weren't working very well, and I think the monitors were all messed up on the floor, and he goes, I can't sing in tune, all I hear is drums, boom, boom, boom. And the next thing you know, it like overplayed into Zach Starkey had to go. And the dude's just like, well, what did I do? Like, so anyway, Pete Townsend just pushed out a notification about saying, we're family, this got screwed up. I got knee replacement surgery. We had 4 weeks to rehearse. We came off orchestral tours, different way we're playing things. Zach has agreed to get it back to the raw-boned Who version of what it is. There's rumor that the drummer with Roger on his solo tour was going to take over, who's very good, but he's not Zach. And they've all agreed, so my boy's back in the band. Thank you.
Wow. My boy's
Let's
back
go.
In the band.
So,
There you
like,
go.
I don't know if that matters to a soul watching this, but maybe one person.
It does. I love the Who.
That was
One person.
I love the Who.
You know?
Maybe you and
I've
Doc.
seen them. I've seen them play live.
Well, so missing is JC and LT. They're great live. It's so
I
good.
saw
Man,
them-
this is-
I saw them in Boston at the Garden live.
And this is different today, just us three, but I kind of like it.
This is,
no
this is-
LTs,
you know what?
no-
We went from being the Electric Light Orchestra to now Rush.
To Nirvana, yeah.
We're Rush. We're about a 3-man.
I feel like we're
band.
gonna hit a different type of level here today, just the three of us, and Doc,
do you?
and Doc, you know,
Well,
being the
Doc's
maestro
laugh
back there.
track.
I think
And the
what's
Doc
got-
bit.
Yeah, you just got to keep the laugh track going, Docky. Then we're good. I think the truth is I think what's going to happen. What's going to happen here is this is going to get real sporty real fast,
That's okay. Let's
I'm
go
ready for it.
and the takes
go.
are going to come. Well, let's start first with what I think. You know, I mean, this is one of those moments with the Masters and what Rory did. Obviously, this has been beaten into the ground over the week, but I think we here at the Meta Buttes and the DigiFan need to do this and need to kind of let's put a bow on this, to be honest. It's one of those events, though, boys, where I felt like it's a where were you when this happened moment.
Yep.
And there were so many things that went into it. And just seeing Rory do it, and then I'm not going to, I got to be honest, when he crumpled to the sacred sod, as Jim Nantz called it, and you could see the body quivering, weeping. Like, I got the crocodile tear. I'm not going to lie. Now, I saw that Justin Guard, who's a great guy, had posted on X about he's at his kids' hockey, and there were grown adults crying, and then people just started just ripping on that. It's like, so what I want to ask is, Quirky, were you emotionally moved?
Yes, for sure.
What were your thoughts?
I mean,
Okay,
just to see somebody go through that amount of adversity, right? That amount of pressure for all that time. I mean, he's obviously one of the greatest golfers in history, but yet has been trying to build up to that moment for so long, and just the mental toughness, you could just see it all pouring out of him, right? All the years of strain, of stress, of trying to make it, of hearing about it year after year after year after year. It was emotional to see. I mean, I love those kinds of stories, and I love the mental game and the mental fortitude that it took to like come back from four double bogeys, right?
Nobody's ever won
Yeah.
that with four, and
And
he
that was
doubles
That was the big
first
stat
hole.
line.
Yeah.
Out of the chute, and you're kind of sitting there, Peanut, going, okay, well, where is this going to go? But you also had the feeling that he's been playing so well over the recent weeks where you're just saying, okay, well, we'll see if he can right the ship. And he did. Like, I think 4, 5, 6, 7, he was fire.
And also to be noted,
And that's what he pulled away.
And he's also just been playing really good over the last several years. I don't think too many people realize, and this is probably like the one stat I at least kind of know, but I believe it's since 2016 with the Masters win now, he's had 22 top 10 finishes since 16, and that's the most in the tour. Somebody could fact check me. It might be a little bit off, but I'm pretty sure
intense.
that's pretty freaking close. So there's been a different level of consistency from McIlroy's end, and so to finally see him get that Grand Slam, he's to think how long he's actually been chasing it, and the part that really got me choked up, and I think I got some other people choked up. I didn't see the full ending of that ceremony and the speech when he got the jacket and was talking to everyone. But seeing the way that he, talked to his wife and his little daughter there was like, holy cow! It's like
Poppy.
somebody's cutting onions.
She became an instant star too, didn't
Yeah.
she?
I mean, it was so cool to see, like, for someone to show up that many years and not win, and then finally win, and have the mental fortitude, with golf being easily, I think, the hardest mental game out there, arguably, to finally win it. I mean, it was incredible.
Did you hear about his strategy during the tournament? Did you hear what
No.
came out about it?
No.
He and his sports psychologist had talked about, okay, how are you going to focus? He didn't say a single word to DeChambeau the entire last round. That was part of it.
Well,
Part
it's
of
really
his strategy
funny
was
because,
to be silent.
Yeah, Bryson said,
Yeah.
he didn't say anything to me. He didn't say a word.
Yeah.
And, that's where he said, he kind of foreshadowed that the day before when they said, how do you approach tomorrow? He goes, I'm just going to live in my own little world, my own little bubble, and I'm going to do what I need to do. I think the thing is like, if you haven't played this game competitively, people say, well, man, DeChambeau's putter just totally failed him, and or Rory choked. Everybody, like, you miss a putt, you choke. Apparently, is what we say. You haven't really made any big putts in your life to say someone choked, to be honest, because you don't get it. My opinion. But I felt as though that was like a theme all day long. You guys saw it. It happened to Rosie on Saturday, but I felt like, and the guys commented on it, those greens were just like NASCAR fast. Did you notice that? And these things were racing by, and their feel was off. I think those greens were way faster on Sunday than they expected them to be, than what they typically would be.
Yes.
And it gave everybody all day trouble, I thought.
Yes.
And so that's what made those last holes so interesting. So let's do this.
This is a clip. I think it is.
Before we go
hoping.
here, I want to go on the emotional part for me. Like what I found interesting. So I love the tour. I do. I think people who don't follow it that much get kind of lazy and want to just look for names, right? Names that they're familiar with. But part of the fun is getting to know who the new names are, and there's so many. And when you look at the young talent that's really being cultivated on the tour right now, it makes sense as to why a big chunk of the guys that were in their mid to late 30s and that's so good. We'll get there.
That's okay. It's not on camera.
We're the guys in their mid 40s, late 30s, 40s. Why they left? Because the young men here are winning a new guy every week who's playing consistently. Who would have thought that a Ludwig Oberg would be there in the mix, almost in the playoff? And he's been absolutely scintillating to watch. Really, really good. So for me, it was knowing that Rory McIlroy was the mouthpiece during the whole live thing.
Yep.
And, when you do that, you open yourself up to a lot of criticism.
A lot. Like, the target was basically
He had
on
nobody to hide from. And he just...
the target was basically on him and Tiger's back.
Well,
at that
Tiger
point,
is
'cause
not
they were
really
two-
playing because he's dealing with injuries and everything else. And so it's kind of come down to he was sort of an island because he was the one on the tour playing, and everybody was like pounding on him. And you can't help but think that's not going to take control of your mind and the mental part of the game. So then when he ends up, and I'm sure that probably had something to do with the marital difficulties because things probably weren't that great, if you know what I mean. Like, it's tough life. And then I think in the end, he said, I'm not doing that anymore. And when you heard when he said that last year, toward the end of last year, I said, okay, let's see what happens next year with him. And what I'll be curious, boys, to see is if this opens up the spigot for more majors from him. It may not, but he can play a lot more relaxed. Okay, let's pull this up.
It's such a tremendous weight off his shoulders.
Jim Nantz made, before he hit play, Jim Nantz made this was the whole thing right here. And I think this is what captivated viewers who weren't golf fans that maybe became golf fans. But Jim Nantz is an American treasure.
He is.
He is one of my broadcasting idols, if I have any. And just the way he calls things are so good. These guys are hilarious. Struggling with the dude in the yellow, bringing really absolutely nothing.
But he is the epitome. Like, he is supporting cast to the highest degree. He may have
color without color.
He had one or two lines in the whole thing, but I mean, his ability to. I don't know if we can get sound or if you can roll it back.
I'm going to roll it back with sound.
Well, okay, so they were pulling the cheerleading for the PGA guy, which I totally get here, which is cool. But the guy on the left absolutely crushed the Jim Nantz lines.
Oh, my
So let's
gosh.
start from this thing, and then let's talk.
Yeah, start from the. Yeah.
This thing is so good. Everybody's seeing this, but.
6 iron yesterday, set up an eagle. Is this enough? It is!
So good!
The shot of a lifetime.
Can you hit pause?
I can't. Yep.
Okay. So, couple things. The crowd.
Yeah. Electric.
Oh!
Magnificent.
It sounded like a Super Bowl almost, like a World Series, right?
It did.
But there's another thing that they really had working,
Yeah.
which were the course mics.
Yes.
It sounded so good. Okay, go ahead.
The
Go ahead.
reverberation off
Yeah,
that.
it was
Oh
like you
my
were there. It was like, watch this. Look at him. Oh boy. Oh boy. Look at him.
That putt.
Look at him.
All of those moments lead to this.
Oh God, so good.
This is the one they missed.
Watch him. Watch his reaction. So good.
The phone call.
Yeah, I know. Rory missed it. I know.
He's calling it bookies.
I'm fine.
Going to a playoff.
That was the best right there. He said nothing.
This one right here. I didn't realize how long it was just quiet.
Well, when you're watching it, the tension was real. You're like going, oh my God. Look how long he really sized it up. Look at him. Look at
Gosh,
him.
that sounds good.
To do it.
He managed to do it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, this one's not right.
Might be going right at it. Should come back down the slope.
Look at him. He sees it now.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, he's shaking.
Look at the long shadows. Symbolic at this moment.
Look at him. He's so cocky.
The journey it's taken to get here. For all this history. The long journey is over. McIlroy has his masterpiece.
Oh my God.
He's been holding that reaction in since 2014.
His one line.
I know. Here came Trevor. Oh, my God, that is so good.
I love it.
That is so good.
And I think there were a lot of great comments on that video, but then someone went on to say that may be one of his most famous lines. What was it?
And McIlroy has his masterpiece.
Oh my gosh! I'm like, that's just like chills.
But like, I love CBS football on Sundays because Jim Nantz, he can't ever go away. We got to AI his voice forever. Nobody will be him.
No one.
No, I'm serious. But like his
He'll live on
timing
forever.
is impeccable. Part of what he did there was, I thought, all day. It wasn't about
Forcing?
people stayed. Yeah, people stayed because he narrates. He goes paint to easel, moment, energy, no energy, breathe, let it breathe. Golden tones, like there's nobody better. I mean, like I don't think I've to me that made the whole 4-hour Odyssey. I think it was 5.5, whatever. I started at 1, over at 5. What's that? 4.5-hour Odyssey, or was it 6?
Yeah,
Whatever it was. Just so enjoyable. Like when you think about the time, like I started from bell to bell. And think about the time invested in it. What a waste of a day. Like, really, like I did nothing. You know, like I need to do my lawn.
I think we need to talk about how many of the ladies watched that. My wife watched it, who will never watch golf, ever.
What was her takeaway?
She was like, this is very exciting.
Like there has been something though that, and I've told people this, and I think a lot of people saw this after, that event, is that there is something that the PGA Tour has that the LIV Tour will never have. The history, the prestige. I mean, again, the commentating, like to have like
they don't have that.
No, not even close. And there's no way to manufacture culture and history. None.
Well, and how many years? They said how many years has CBS done the Masters?
It's exclusively.
Yeah, for like the
last. Since I've been a little kid,
60, it's
like
I've
the
never, longest. I
from
think
the
it's
60s.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think it's the longest running relationship between a TV channel and a major event like that. Especially today when things are like.
I would be really curious to see what the viewership numbers were for it, because I didn't even hear, but I'm sure it was probably good this year.
I know it was 12.5 million at a time.
Concurrent?
Yeah.
Wow.
At a time, but I'm sure the whole rollout had to be legendary. I mean, it was
hundreds of millions,
so
maybe.
Good. Yeah. On the LIV thing, here's the interesting thing. Like, if we started talking about the LIV, how much time do we have in this segment, Doc?
I was just going to give you the 2.
Okay. If we would have talked about this, 2-3 years ago when the LIV started, I would have been, yapping and whatever. Like, honestly, I don't pay attention to it because, one, I don't know when they're playing. 2, I don't know what channel. I know they're on CW or whatever it is, but they're buried. They don't play Thursday. They play Friday. They play Saturday, Sunday. It's 54 holes. I get it. It's 52 players. Yep. There's not a lot of variety. We got 250 guys that are cycling in and out of the tour that can give you fresh legs, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So having them be in the Masters and the majors, awesome. Because then you can see everybody again. But then you realize you don't really miss it, to be honest with you, because players will come and go.
Yep.
There have been a bunch of New York Yankees that have come and gone. Yep. It's the New York Yankees. It's not the individual Jorge Posada or whoever it would be, or Bernie Williams, just grabbing names. It's
Derek Jeter.
Sure, they're a part of
captain.
that. Alex Rodriguez,
Johnny Bench.
They're a part of that, but they aren't that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same feeling I got when I walked away and turned off the TV. It's cool that they're playing and doing their thing, and if that's your jam, play the lead guitar in that. That's totally cool. And if it's not, that's cool too, but they have the ability to come together. I'd like to think that something's going to be sorted out between all of that here shortly.
I imagine.
I think what's got to happen, though, is I think the guys that stayed in the PGA Tour are going to need to be recognized and rewarded for staying.
Oh, heck yeah.
And I think that's a big part of what we're talking about. Final things. Do you guys, Doc brought it up about his wife and the female audience being pulled in. Yeah. Did you guys have any friends that watched it or said something to you that maybe would never have watched it?
My mom actually ended up watching some of it too, and she usually doesn't, same thing. Like, women, and
I think the female audience got pulled in
there we go.
by the Rory story for sure.
Yeah, there's drama there, so that's good.
It's like real life reality TV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not to say that golf doesn't pull or attract them, but there was something different about this where I heard from multiple people where it's like they actually really enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, I mean it's impossible not to get behind something like that. I mean just hearing about him as a kid, I think he told the story or he's told the story over time is like his dad and his family went through lengths to allow him.
They didn't
to
have a
keep
ton of
playing.
dough.
No, they didn't. And
Yeah.
he was saying that, like, I think, what was it? He was down to his last, like, little bit of change for a ball of.
He said, "That's all I got till next Tuesday
Yeah, I think a golf
for a
balls.
bucket of
And
balls." Yeah.
He's like, I want you to hit all these shots like it's like you're winning the Masters, right?
Right. Wow.
And I think that to me really exemplified it. And
Dude, you just saying that story gives me chills.
yeah,
man.
I just got.
Yeah, I mean,
that was wild. Like, I think that's the
Yeah.
moment you think of where he won that. You could tell he was thinking about that
Yeah.
Right
during
on.
the interview. Like, as he
I was
sank
thinking
that
the
last
same
putt,
thing.
He was definitely thinking like, this is his moment. Because I mean, you're an athlete. You play that 3-2 count, bottom of the ninth, World Series, Game 7. Like, that was his moment there. That he
totally.
as a kid lived over and over and over and over, and it finally happened.
when he
love it,
when he
yeah.
got
I love
that
it.
when he got that shot to roll down the lip there or down the hill a little bit toward the pin and really made it a slam dunk, it was kind of one of those situations where you say, you know what, he made a lot of those shots all weekend, very well deserved. But Justin Rose, real quick tip of the cap there, leader on day 1, day 2, had a rough day 3. The putter forsaked him. It's like, what is going on here? But then the dude just fired back with the old nothing to lose. Can't get a more likable, nice guy on the tour than that guy.
I like
He's
that guy
pro's
a lot.
pro.
Graceful in defeat. Like his
So
second in a
good.
row playoff.
I
that
know,
he's-
I
that
know.
He's lost.
Did you hear what he said after that?
Oh,
He
I
said,
did.
They
No.
said, he said, well, I lost in the playoff to Sergio in 17, and I used it and got to world's number 1, and I got a lot left in this game I want to do, which I thought was really, really good.
Wow.
And he's not top 5 right now at the RBC in Hilton Head, but he's right in the mix. So
Yep.
there you go.
Good ending point there.
Good stuff. Okay, here we go. On to the next.
That's going to be the signal where we got to
I kind of
move
got
on.
my green jacket on.
Yeah, you got your green jacket.
Yeah.
We're going to go to that on the hockey segment,
Yeah,
though. We're
well,
saving
it's
that for
blending
then.
them, the green jacket with the hockey. you know.
We're starting with the National Basketball Association and playoffs. You can drink your coffee and take a break, Quirky.
You guys go for it.
We'll hand it over.
You can come back here
We'll
and
hand it
join
over
me,
to-
Quirk.
We're going to hand it over to Peanut. Okay, so Peanut, we got NBA playoffs beginning in earnest. I mean, we had the play-ins, obviously, which was really. I mean, I was shocked with the Dallas
performance.
Sacramento game. What was going on there in Sacktown? It's like, oh God. And then how about the Heat? It just they're an interesting team. It doesn't matter what their record is. You can't sleep on them.
Nope.
Because they have too much savvy and they know how to play when it matters most. And as a 10 seed, they get into the dance.
Which is just absolutely wild. Still have a hard time wrapping my head around that. Tonight.
Yeah, you know what their reward is?
What, say it again?
You know what their reward is?
What? Tell me.
The Celts.
Yeah, true. I mean, which
That's not a great reward.
I mean,
The defending champs, But let's focus in on the West and the
Yeah.
Wolves and the Lakers.
yeah, two Western Conference
Yeah.
matchups today.
You came in a little bit agitated
Yeah,
with the naysayers saying that the
narrative.
being that it's over in 6 or less, Lakers move on. I said 2 weeks ago, I guess in this town, Trent Tucker and I are the only two that outwardly, I said it first, liked the matchup with the Lakers as
Correct.
opposed to anybody else in the West at this moment.
You said that last epi.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you didn't disagree. Why do you like this matchup?
Well, I mean, for me, it was interesting hearing some perspective. There were a couple of different people posting on X, on Twitter, saying if we can get Gobert and Randall especially turned up and dialed in, I think they're going to have a heyday relative to the matchups that the Lakers can actually bring out. And I'm going to pull up the Lakers lineup just because I need a little bit of a refresher in terms of depth here. Obviously, you have Hachimura. He could be someone that they plug in terms of height. Jackson Hayes was another individual, that comes to mind again in terms of height. We'll see if Dalton Connect, Tennessee product. We'll see what he does. But for the most part, I mean, even Reeves, Vanderbilt, former Timberwolf. Not a lot. There's not really a lot of size to match up against what
They don't have it.
They don't have it. They don't have it. And so I think
it's a
mismatch.
It's a small, skilled, quick lineup against a very long, large lineup that can play small as well with their personnel. And the thing that in that lineup, what feared me the most was Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
So
there's
he,
not
but,
that
but,
like there's
but
not
he
the
was the one that was so
the enforcer.
where I think where this narrative is coming from is it's because of what Luka did with the supporting cast he had in Dallas, which I thought matched up with the Wolves, who, by the way, were completely shot when they finished their 7-gamer with the Denver Nuggets, the then defending champions. And they were defending, right, last year? They won the year before. Okay. I think this is a different setting.
Yes.
And I want to see how are they gonna handle Gobert? How are they gonna handle Julius Randle? I mean, with them defensively, like when the Wolves' defense is committed, I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
But what about the pick and roll and switching?
Love that.
I mean, that's going to be huge. I mean, and I was kind of thinking, too, of some additional people that could certainly be into the mix. I mean, again, if you have Gobert firing, you have Randall firing, and we're able to get some quality minutes. I know, and again, it's a very small sample size, but you have Terrence Shannon Jr., who arguably had one of his best games all season. That ended up being against the Lakers how many months ago, how many weeks ago. So that was a point that someone brought up, too, but... I mean, if you can get...
I don't see them going to rookies in the playoffs that much.
I mean...
I really don't.
But they had some variable... I believe that between Dillingham and Terrence Shannon Jr., they had some quality minutes this year that put him in a different spot.
Different animal, different monster. He's going to go...
And considering that they did
he's
this
gonna
coming
live
right
off,
up...
I believe he's going to live off the 8. I could be wrong, but I think he's going to say, here's my 8.
Yep.
We're gonna ride and die with you guys, and we gotta make this happen.
But there's also a level of strategy too when it comes to. I mean, it's like anything. I feel like between basketball, I feel like baseball, especially and Quirky Quirk, that would hit home with you too, given your experience and love for baseball, mine too. But I mean, it's like a game of chess, and you got to kind of figure out, okay, if you're gonna ride again with those 8. How can you strategically, intertwine people's minutes to get, okay, if somebody is going to playing, 35 plus 40 minutes, how can you get them a little bit of rest, or how can you kind of bring people in when they need, 2, 3, 4 minute break? And so that's where I think that.
Fine, he'll use a 9-man.
Yeah, maybe 9.
But there's 9 on a baseball field, so 9
right there you go. Oh, thanks for that. Thanks for that.
But I think it's going to be interesting.
Quirky's contributing.
There we go.
I think it's going to be interesting just to see how some of those bench roles, how they can come in too. But I mean, I honestly think that this is one of the deeper teams that we have ever had. I mean, you could go down the full list, and any single person can contribute. There might be a couple where I'm kind of like, you haven't really seen a lot. But, I mean, like I said, I could go through the whole lineup. Alexander Walker, he's contributed this year. Jalen Clark.
He's probably had his best year ever.
Jalen Clark, he played himself into a
really
contract.
Good year.
Played up. Mike Conley, he's still consistent.
You know what they need Junior to do there? Mike Conley Jr. You know what they need him to do?
What?
They need him to play defense.
That too.
That's all he's got to do.
Well, Grandpa
Austin Reeves,
Grandpa Joe.
Yeah, maybe.
Grandpa.
Maybe he's.
Grandpa
Maybe
Joe.
is he glued to Austin Reeves? Is that his job? I don't know.
DiVincenzo too. I've heard a big push from a lot of people that
he's very pesky.
That he needs to start. People have been pushing for a start from him. That could be a possibility.
You know what I'm most interested in? Is defense and not scoring. Whatever gives this team the best defensive opportunity. And I'll be curious to know where the Wolves are really good is when they get the stops and then they run the floor.
Yep.
And they take control and they tempo and pace it.
Yep.
What's going to be interesting with the Lakers is you would think of them being a little smallish. They're not tiny, but like a little small. Will they be able to get up and down the floor as effectively? Maybe. I don't know. I just think the Wolves are. I mean, when you look at these, what were the Wolves like 2-3 games behind the second seed? I mean, that's the 2 Pelicans games and the Wizards game, and they're a second seed. So I mean, and we can every team can say, well, we sort of threw that one away. We threw that one away. So forth and so on. But I don't know. I just think for the Wolves, they have as good of a chance to win this series as the Lakers do.
Correct.
Of course, either one can win it. Yep. And I would ask this. Well, before I ask this, I'm going to put a caveat on that. So Cat's not here, and he's in New York.
Okay.
So I have a feeling the conventional fandom is going to look and see his success and measure it against the Wolves as far as measuring whether or not that was a good trade or not. My opinion.
Sure.
Doesn't mean it's the truth. But what I do know is that I've watched Julius enough over especially the past 2 months.
Yep.
Dude is perfect for this team right now, and you
Yep.
can see what Conley was thinking there when he brought him in.
And DiVincenzo too. Let's not forget
and
about
he's,
him.
he's like really flowed into the whole scenario too really well too. I mean that's just bonus because it was 2 for 1.
And I think we could all agree it was looking a little bleak. It was looking a little.
Oh, it's brutal. We were like, when is
what the
this
hell
gonna
did we
sort
do?
itself out? You know,
Like, what kind of trade did we just
but
make?
now we're seeing it, and what's interesting is. It is the playmaking capabilities of Julius is what's impressed me.
Yes.
I think it's so savvy sometimes with those little like passes.
Yep.
Like he's taking guys by surprise.
Yep.
And they're like, whoa, you know. But he's very deceptive with his distribution.
Yes.
And I think that's been a huge benefit there. But what this really comes down to, in my opinion, is rim protection.
Yes.
Rebounding, I always say, is a choice.
Yep.
And it's a matter of you have to know where the ball. You cannot react to where the ball goes after
Yep.
it's off the rim. You have to anticipate, and you have to win that sort of mental race to the ball. Go up, choose to get it, bring it down.
Yep.
I don't know. I think the Wolves out rebound the hell out of them. That's
Really.
my opinion.
And that's interesting.
I think that's a big part of what's going to happen.
Yeah. I'm going back through because I wanted to kind of fact check myself here. Roster-wise, height-wise, excuse me, I think the average height might be. I'll have to do a little bit of a breakdown. I think it might go to the Lakers in terms of average height, but I feel like in terms of aggressiveness and experience too, there's going to be something different. Again, like I said about the Timberwolves, the depth. I mean, there's a couple of players that really haven't played at all for us. You know, Jesse Edwards, Bones Highland. I know Josh Minot, he's played a little bit. Newton hasn't played much, but beyond that, Shannon Jr., Reed, Randall, McDaniels, Grandpa Joe, Gobert, Garza, Edwards, Dillingham, DiVincenzo, Conley, Clark, Alexander Walker. You know, all of those other guys have played significant minutes. They've contributed in a positive way, and that's why I'm like, wow, okay, there's actually some depth. It's not, like I'm worried
Right.
about rolling with like, 7 or 8, whatever it might be.
To me, the biggest difference between this team this year and last year, and maybe even the previous year, was that this team isn't just learning their footing in the playoffs. I really do think that matters. And you can laugh at me. I did say that about OKC. They were out quickly last year. Unreal, dominating this year. If you look at them regular season, it would be them and the Celtics or Cleveland if you go by that. I'm sure they're going to be just fine, but they're going through the process. The Wolves are maybe a year ahead in that process. The Rockets going through that process. Where are they going to be? They've been written off largely by everybody because they're playing Golden State. And I don't think that's necessarily the truth there. I think Houston can win that. I think the Houston are a lot like the Wolves from last year. I do. I think they're the same. I mean, where did they come from? And then on the same token, what the hell happened to Dallas? I mean, you're in the NBA Finals a year ago, and you're out, and you're not even in. You were a 10th seed.
Bye bye, Luka.
But why?
Their GM is sticking by that though.
Yep.
But what? But why? What's he saying?
He's happy with the trade, right? He's like,
Yeah.
I didn't want him.
There was one stat. There was a
I
photo
don't
here. Shout out to Wolves Lead over on X. I'd seen this 5 days ago, and I had to go find this post. February 28th, the Wolves were 32-29
Right.
after losing to the Jazz by 1, and Anthony Edwards got his 16th tech suspension game. The Wolves then proceeded to go 17-4
Right.
to finish off the season.
Right, and I think that's one game.
I saw that and I was like, I didn't even realize that. I'm like, you gotta be.
Yeah, I think that's like one
be kidding me.
game better than even Golden State after the Jimmy Butler or
Some are
something
right in
like
the
that.
mix.
It's like
Some are
a
right in
lot
the
like
mix.
that,
One or two.
or whether it was the Lakers or whatever. But They're definitely been one of the top teams in the West.
Yep.
And something to contend with. So I say, whoa, slow her down a little bit here. It doesn't mean this is going to be a white. They could lose to the Lakers.
Totally.
But in the end,
about catching momentum at the right time, it couldn't have been better.
But in the end, goes back to my original point of comparing the trade. To me, if they lose this series, it's not the end of the world because I think the Western Conference is just an absolute
It's been
minefield.
Yeah,
it's just good luck. I mean, whoever comes through in the West isn't winning. My opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Celtics. I think Cleveland.
Yeah.
The Pistons are intriguing to me. They're the Wolves of last year, but they've been out for so long. So we'll see what happens there. Not sure what's going to happen with the Knicks either. But Miami,
Heat.
they've got Boston.
That was a great game last night.
I honestly,
I
they got off. They were. It looked like there was trouble there though to start for the Hawks.
No doubt.
They were down by what, like 10, 12 to start. Woof.
Yeah.
So who do you think is going to take it all?
That's $1 million question.
I think honestly, I think the Celtics go back to back.
They could. They very well
Just
could.
keep piling on those championships.
They haven't.
Most championships ever.
They haven't. They haven't.
You're wearing the
given me-
green. You're wearing the green.
They haven't given me any reason to believe why they wouldn't. So until they prove that wrong, I go Celts.
Yeah. Good point.
So
Good point.
are we good with hoops?
I'm good with hoops, man. That was great.
I'm good with hoops.
Okay,
That
now
was great.
the Mighty Ducks jersey.
This is the last.
Oh,
It was just coming up.
that Mighty Ducks J right there that you're wearing.
Yeah.
I want to make a statement. Okay. You, Doc, were at that Wild game, which
So good.
You said arguably one of the best games you've ever been at.
Well, I would say
best 5 minutes.
the best last 5 minutes of hockey I've ever seen.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure.
It was exciting.
Yeah,
Depends who you're
so
pulling
like,
for,
wouldn't
though.
you agree? Like,
True.
so like, I would argue that the faithful at the XL Energy Center, when it's 2-1, are sitting here going, "I'm getting to the car.
Let me leave.
Screw this. I'm out of here. This sucks."
True
What a
Minnesota,
terrible
true,
season.
True Minnesota fandom.
Had there been
I didn't see anyone leaving.
Okay,
Like
somebody say it.
normally, I would have said yes that people would be leaving, but
You
I
didn't.
would have expected people
Honestly,
to be leaving,
You
but
saw
they
pe-
weren't.
You saw people doubling down.
in my humblest of
Double down.
opinions.
Yeah.
My humblest of opinions, if Joel Eriksson Ek does not score, the Wild were 20 seconds from a complete collapse. They wouldn't have made it.
Wouldn't have made the playoffs.
No.
Well, the Flames definitely bit it down the stretch there too, but
Well, they got the 2 points that night.
yeah, it was.
That
was an
but that
exciting
game would have
night.
been a completely different game against the Kings.
yeah.
Yeah.
So just wild. Okay, so tell us, did you like the orange pants and gloves?
Anaheim.
Anaheim. I thought it was interesting.
It's a good look.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I thought, I
Nobody,
had never seen that
nobody
before.
has that orange.
Had they played those orange breezers throughout the season?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
shoot,
Yeah,
I
they
guess I haven't-
popped though. Nobody has that look.
That was fun.
But
The classic.
they've never gone with this classic bit that you're wearing here.
This one goes way back.
I would love to see. Do they ever wear this? Is it?
I'm not sure, but they came back around to the whole Mighty Ducks.
Right.
For a while, they're just the Ducks, right?
They've been a
Now they're
franchise
back to
in
the
like
Mighty.
they've just lacked identity from day one. Like just like what are we? And when you do that, when you track the Hollywood angle, that's what's going to happen, for sure. Minnesota Wild at the Vegas Golden Knights, and my boy Doc over
Hold
here.
on.
Yeah, before we get there.
we gotta go back. We gotta go back to that overtime with
Yeah,
him
we
putting
just almost
Fleury
were
in.
gonna go. "Woo!"
When he put Fleury in. The whole
Yeah,
crowd.
we got to talk about that. I mean,
the
how
OT,
great that was.
The OT, there wasn't a single person sitting.
Yeah, you wrote
Yeah.
that. You wrote
That
that,
was
in the
pretty
group
cool.
chat.
It
That
was
was cool.
so awesome.
So let's go back even a little bit more real quick. So what? 20 seconds left in the period. You get it tied up. Like, walk us through what was the environment? What was it like in the XL after getting that? I mean, Eric Snack, everyone was going nuts. But like, what was it from your perspective?
I mean, I
What was
think
it
we
like?
were thinking, okay, we just need the tie.
Yeah.
You're right. And well, even if we lose this one, there's still a chance.
Yeah.
That's kind of the feeling. It wasn't like it. Normally, I would expect kind of the whole self-loathing Minnesota fan just like walking out with 10 minutes left in the third,
I
but
would've been
everyone
up-
was there.
I would have been up in the at the top of the stairs.
Yeah, ready to run in the car.
So that was epic when Yule scored, and then when they put Fleury in, it was just everyone was like going nuts, cheer, Fleury chants the whole time.
Why didn't they play him the whole game? That's what I want to know.
Because the game mattered.
He's a stud,
But
though.
he totally-
For his age, he can play out of his mind.
His Fleury flop was so money when he did that stack the pads
Yeah.
arm save.
Oh my
was so
gosh.
amazing.
He came in there and made a few saves right away.
So he
Yeah,
made.
yeah.
He was feeling the pressure right away.
I think it was 5 overtime saves, and I felt like each one was absolutely pivotal. I
Yeah.
mean, he made 5 incredible saves. Seeing the way that they were even congratulating him after, and they did the handshake from the other team as. I mean, it was
Yeah.
just.
It was.
It was incredible.
I love his overtime antics. Do you remember last year? This is kind of going back, but they were playing, I think, Nashville, and the season was kind of on the line too, right? They needed these points. He pulled himself in overtime. Do you remember that game? So he actually pulled himself in overtime to get an extra attacker.
I do recall that.
for
Yes.
risking a point, because if you give up a goal,
Didn't
like that-
matter. They
yeah.
needed the 2.
I know, it was wild, but the
yeah.
smartness, the smarts behind
The
that.
savvy.
Yeah, the savvy.
So the great part of that story is Gustafsson saying we're in. Let's put the flower out there. But the part that blew me away out of that is like, okay, if this is your last regular season or postseason game that you ever play, that will be your last memory. And instead, he made it a really good memory. And what I saw was a guy who really had nothing to lose, put on a
Totally.
old school double
Totally.
pad stack, poke check stuff.
Yeah.
Might have had a post in there,
Yeah.
whatever. But that was super cool. And then to see Boldy pick up that game winner,
Ayo.
that was like extra. That was the
Look at that
frosting.
hat.
Yeah, there it is.
I love
Bolds,
it.
as they call them. So that propels them into the series with the Vegas Golden Knights,
Which
and I'll
we got
tell
a
you
lot to
what.
talk about here.
Yeah, so let's start from the beginning. When when the Wild were flirting with the 3 seed,
Yes.
the team that they would have ended up playing would have been either Colorado or Dallas.
Oh.
And I'm like, screw that. I would rather this team match up with Vegas.
Okay.
Vegas provides a bit of a problem for Minnesota in that they're really good down the middle. Jack Eichel's having a career year. I think he's got 96 points or some big number like that.
Which is usually that
and,
point total that you look for from some of those great players in the league.
Right. Mark Stone, who actually wasn't on long-term IR this year, which was stunning. They always work that angle over there. Okay, he scores big goals in big moments.
Yep.
When he's not on your team, you're like, God dang. But I don't know. Like, if I'm Minnesota, I'd rather play Vegas.
Really?
I don't want anything to do with the Winnipeg Jets. Here's
Okay.
the thing.
Agreed.
Here's what writers love to do.
Yeah, tell us.
They
Give us the
love,
inside scoop.
they love to paint people into boxes of you suck, you're good. So suddenly the Jets have a bad playoff year and suddenly they can't play in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you see the regular season they had and how they play? They play a little bit different than they did last year. Did you see their goaltender in the Four Nations Cup, which was about as much pressure and stress as you can? I thought he was pretty damn. He's the best in the league,
Yeah.
and he should win the MVP, the Hart Trophy.
Did you see the Blues goalie in the Four Nations Cup?
Yeah. But I'm talking body
go.
of work. Well, he's won a cup though. I mean, he's won a
Yes.
cup.
The Blues also played the Jets in the first round
But
in
the
2019
but the
on their way to the
928
Stanley
save
Cup.
percentage
Yeah.
by Hellebuck against the Blues. You guys are going to go very meekly. Going to get rolled. Sorry.
We'll see. We'll see. We've got.
Okay.
I don't know if you know this, but the Blues.
Hall and Oates
have-
aren't there. I don't know if
That's
you
okay.
didn't check.
The
Okay.
Blue. 2019, same way. We changed coaches. We went on a hot streak. We finished the season, so we also have our superstitious. We've got this Jobu voodoo doll
yeah,
that
the
started.
voodoo doll.
He's in the locker room now. We're 19-4-3 since we brought Jobu from Major League the movie in the locker room.
Well, that's
There's a
about-
lot.
That's
There's a
about
lot.
to be 19-8-3.
There's a lot going on. I'm just saying, there's a lot going on. We love
lot of voodoo?
We love the voodoo in St.
I-
Louis.
I-
I think
I
there's
just-
a little French Norlands.
Yeah.
We've got a little voodoo in us. And just saying.
I think the Jets are going
Just
to turn
saying.
the
So
corner this year.
are you telling me? So I had to do a little bit of a deep dive. I was trying to refresh my memory. I believe so. It was the 2021-2022 Leafs. They had 115 points franchise record at the time. Are you saying that this might be almost a repeat of that, and your Blues are going to take down the?
No, I think the President's
the
Cup.
Jets?
The President's Cup is not a good thing. You
You're
do
like,
not
what?
you do not want to win the President's Cup. I remember. I mean, I think I would want to know the stats on teams who win the President's Cup, how they do in the playoffs.
It's not as many, but I did see the Wings do it. Look, win your games. Win
Playoff hockey is
do your
another
thing.
beast. That's the thing.
But when
It's
you're-
another beast.
I just think this Winnipeg team is built
Yeah.
for the playoffs. So we're talking about the Wild. Somehow it transitioned into the Blues. Like I don't know how we got
I
there.
don't know how that
he
happened.
maneuvered that very well.
Touche!
You opened the door a little bit. with
Basically,
Roland
that
there.
was me saying I'd rather not see, if I'm a Wild backer,
Love it.
I'd rather not see
Oh
them
my
play
gosh.
Winnipeg. And then I brought up the Blues, and we got 30 minutes of Blues.
No,
Joking.
You brought up
Give me a shit.
goaltending.
Hey, if we got Micro calling in, we'd be talking Boston.
Yeah.
And I would.
And how are
really-
they doing? Worst league in the
I
East.
would really stick it to them because I was trying to refresh my memory. So 21-22, that was the Leafs. 22-23, the Bruins. That's when they had their massive 135-point season. They lost
really
in the first
insane.
round to Florida.
Okay, so let's keep going here now. Wild. let's get on the
Back to the Wild.
Appreciate that info.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild Vegas, because this is what everybody wants to hear in the mini market.
Yeah.
Doc called me a bit of a contrarian.
Really? Okay. That's not probably the first time you said that.
He said that I go.
That's a compliment, though.
He said I go against the grain of conventional wisdom quite
Yes.
a bit. Would you agree with that? Okay.
They're afraid to say.
I would not be because just say yes.
Yes.
Just say yes.
yeah.
No, I'm not. Be contrarian.
Oh, my God.
So this is one of those series where you go, I don't know, like something weird could happen. You know,
think so?
yes.
But Vegas has always had her number.
I keep rewinding the 7-game series a couple of years ago. That really Minnesota had every reason to feel they could win that.
Bingo.
Back in the day. And again, you know, they've been really in a weird way, or in a good way, given a free pass from the locals because of the buyouts, and they understood the reasoning why. The pressure is going
now-
to get hotter next year, year after year after.
Yep.
But you've got Kaprizov, who doesn't look the same again. Something's wrong. I mean, he doesn't look,
Yeah.
you know, now keeping
He's
in
got
mind.
a lot of rust to knock off.
Well, like, I don't know if that's the case, though.
You
I
think
think
it's-
he's
he's
still
just-
not
he's-
back.
his body's not there.
Just in one-on-one
Well, I
battles,
mean-
shoulder to shoulder, he protects the puck so well. He's losing it. He knocks pucks. Like, it's just not the same, and it's not a timing thing. I'm telling you, I think there's something. I know nothing. I'm just saying from the naked eye.
physically.
That's what I'm seeing.
Okay.
I feel that.
I mean, it takes time though to reacclimate. Wouldn't you agree? If you're out for that
We've
long,
seen him come
but-
back from injuries and not take this long to get his timing reacclimated.
Got it.
To me,
There's
it
something
feels like,
underlying.
I could be wrong, but it feels like there's something not all back.
Got it.
And it's not a timing thing. To me, it's a like, you know, when you hurt something and you go back out, you don't want to re-injure it, and you have to be careful, and, you know, you're thinking about it. And it feels that way to me, where it's precarious. Even though he's been approved and cleared to play, you just go, I could be wrong, and things could be different here in the playoffs. Maybe he was, you know, we'll see. But if he can get to the level that he's capable of doing, if that continues to be as good as he can be, as his boy 12 can do the things that he can do. The interesting thing is like, let's be careful not to put a ton onto Zeev's back here. And he's not even played an NHL game. He hasn't even played an NHL game.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already got first name status.
Yeah.
Zeev. Boyum.
Yeah. He's
Okay,
good.
so the deal there is, in this game, if you play the type of game he does, and you can't skate and you can't edge and you don't have good, hip to ankle strength. It's tough to do what he does, and he's really good at that. Like he is special.
Yep.
And what will be curious to know is if they do insert him in the lineup, sounds like they're going to, and they're going to healthy scratch John Merrill. He'll play with Bogosian, the man we call Bedrock around our household, just because it looks like a good nickname for him. If those two play together, then Boyum's the one defenseman on the forward power play, which has actually been pretty good at about 20% this year. It hasn't been dismal. It's not.
Is there any limitations of pulling people up during the playoffs, or
They
not
got their
really?
their black aces, right?
What's that?
They got that black aces, right? They call them the guys that come up from the minors at the end of the year.
Yeah, you kind of load up. You have a bunch of guys that practice, and you can.
I didn't realize how young he
Stuff in
was
there.
too,
19.
which is wild.
Kaprizov had some great words to say about how he goes, I don't know if he can play defense. I don't really care. He's great offensively, So,
Yeah.
but we'll see what that translates to.
You know who
Yeah.
else is primed for a playoff run?
Who?
Snuggerud.
Okay, we'll get there in a minute.
Hey, that's a Minnesota market thing too, right?
Yeah, there you go.
There we
He's
go.
a blue now.
Yeah.
So the
Got
one,
his first goal the other day.
Okay, so he's got where there's one, there's two. But I do think you totally derailed me.
That's what I do here.
Gustafson,
Here I am.
thanks, buddy. Gustafson
Derail season.
has the ability to change a series too, and I thought he had himself a heck of a season. He had some moments, but like if he gets dialed in, I mean, they could create a deep series here. Is all I'm saying. And if you do that, you give yourself a chance to win.
Yep.
I don't think they're going to win this series,
Sure.
but I do think it's going to be a hell of a lot harder for the Vegas Golden Knights than people think. What do you think of that, Doc?
That's a
You know
good
what?
take.
It's a great take. I like it. I got to pull up some stats here, but I think historically, the matchup between the Wild and the Knights, I put out the comparison to my dad. And I don't know if you guys agree, disagree. Maybe again, good take, terrible take too. But to me, it feels like the same way that the Yankees have had the Twins number in the playoffs historically is the same way that the Knights have the Wild's number when it comes to important games too. Maybe I'm off. Maybe the stats say differently. You don't feel that at all.
Nope.
What do you?
It's
So
Dallas
what do you
is the
feel?
problem here with that one. It's the Dallas Stars. It's the problem.
So you
with
don't
Minnesota.
think that there's
No, I actually think the Vegas I go back to that 7-game series that the Wild weren't supposed to win the year they won the Cup. They gave them one of the toughest series. No, I'm sorry. The Caps won that Cup. They gave them the toughest series in the West with that 7-gamer. I don't.
If you're going
think there's-
7 games, that's better than the 4 games the Twins usually.
You're right. I don't think there's a lot of shock and awe when it comes to that team. They're really good. They're super deep. Their defensemen are awesome. They should win, but I don't see like that. Now, Colorado and Dallas, Jason Robertson's hurt. Waiting on Miro Heiskanen to come back for the first time in God knows how long. They're pretty banged up. It's too bad for Dallas because I was thinking they had a shot at the Cup here this year, but we'll see what they do with Colorado. That could be one of the most electric series in the NHL this round.
Colorado is just a fast team. I mean,
Super fast.
Doc, we saw the Knights and the Avs.
Yeah, we
play.
did.
They're fast.
Yeah.
They're just.
I
so
still
fast.
love McKinnon, and so he's just such a
Yeah.
stud.
What's so weird is that Rantanen isn't there. He's in Dallas.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, how is this happening? It's
Yeah.
like, it's so weird. Another series just in the West real quick.
And then we'll come back to the Wild quick with a couple of
Yeah.
stats I got.
Okay, real quick. Edmonton
I got a
and LA.
stat too for you.
I mean, I think a lot of people are hating on the Oilers here for this one, but
Amen.
I'm taking the Oilers based off of going to the Stanley Cup last year, coming back from down 3-0 and forcing Game 7 in Florida. I don't think that much has changed from that team. I think they win this series.
Interesting. Okay. So I went back, and we could resurface that if we need to as well. Knights are 19-15-1 versus the Wild. I'm thinking back to the 2021 round of the playoffs in Vegas. We took them to 7, which for some reason I thought it had played out differently. So they ended up winning that one. So all things considered, in the regular season, 15-12-1, the Knights are ahead of us. So it's not
I thi-
completely slanted or skewed in some ways that
Yeah,
some of the last couple teams
it's
have played.
close enough to a 500-ish type of.
Yeah.
I think
matchup.
also Minnesota fans travel well to Vegas, so there's
say so.
there's
They
more
kinda
folks
do.
in the stands. I feel
They kind of do. They
not
kinda do.
not that we've enjoyed any sort of home and
Well,
ice
that's
advantage.
the other. You know what? Well, here's the other thing. Since the Blues are going to lose in the first round, then the Wild, because the Wild are going to go to the Cup because they're going to win every series 4-3 because they're so much better on the road than they are at home. No, actually, the irony is that good road run kind of came to a close toward the end of the season, and they started winning some stuff at home, which is interesting.
But
and
Vegas teams are not better at Vegas on the road. That's like their secret weapon. I think one of the I saw their stats before. Vegas is so much better at home because teams go there and they party it up, and
Yeah.
They're
other
not
thing-
going to do that.
The other thing
Not in the
too.
playoffs.
No.
Nope.
So
nope.
the Knights are on a 5-game winning streak against the Wild. The last 3 on the 25th of March, the 12th of January, and the 15th of December. Wild
New
had
season.
5-1 loss, 4-1 3-2. But like you
Okay,
said,
I'm going contrarian. I'm telling
time.
you this. If this
I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
This thing goes 6 or 7.
Sixers. You think it could go 7 again? Wild and 7.
I do. I'm not
like it.
saying Wild and 7, but it could. And I'll take a team that had one of the best road records in the National Hockey League on the road in a Game 7 with no pressure. They're not supposed to win.
Yeah, they're not.
They're not. Let's
here
just see
for
what
it.
happens.
Let's see. I'm for it.
What
I'm for
what
it.
I think the world tends to forget is that this team had the best record in the National Hockey League for some time into early December before it got completely nicked. Quickly onto the East, Montreal and Washington. Interesting series. There's some love for the Habs. People are liking the Canadians.
Yeah.
Well, you do.
I love the Canadians.
You love the Canadians.
Yeah.
I don't think they have anything for Washington. Oh, by the way, I did skip the Blues and the Jets.
Yeah.
Give me
Bring it.
1 or 2 or 3 really good reasons why you think the Blues are going to win.
Okay, so this
Not emotional. I want facts.
You teed this one up perfectly. I have a secret stat weapon. Shout out to my mom who's watching. Love you, mom.
Hey,
Mom.
She
Ayo.
sent
Hey,
this
Mom.
out. She's on the ball.
Mama Quirky Quirk.
Since the President's Trophy was first awarded in 1985, 1986, only 8 NHL teams have won both the President's Trophy and the Stanley Cup. Shooting that out there. So there's one.
Okay,
Wow.
just for this
Yeah.
though, you got to.
She's on the ball.
But how many of those President
out there.
Cups teams have won the first round?
Mom, help.
Help right now.
Help, Mom.
No. But what you're saying is you feel as though the Jets are vulnerable. I do agree. Basically you blow your load through the season.
My
right?
mom's listening to this.
You know what? Hey,
not like
you know
she's
what? You
never
know what?
heard that.
I'm glad that L
You already
Teagues.
got a red.
I'm glad that L Teagues and
I did
JC
that to
weren't
make
here
you
to exploit
uncomfortable.
that one.
L. Teagues would
Sorry,
have lost
Mom.
his mind.
Oh, he would have lost
No,
it.
but okay. So
out,
but
Teagues.
why else do you think?
Jobu. Voodoo Jobu.
Okay. Those are 2.
That's a fact.
Give me an
The Blues
eye.
are
What about
Give
Snuggie?
Give
What
me
about
an eye. You
Snuggie?
love Snuggie.
And Snuggie.
Minnesota native.
Wow.
Teach me how to Snuggie is what they
What
said.
about- what about
Actually,
Jordan-
when
what about
the
Jordan
Blues
Kyrou?
announcer said, "Teach me how to Snuggie." Yeah.
What about Jordan
34
Kyrou? He's having
goals.
himself a
He's
nice
having-
season. He's been
Yep.
really good. And you know what? I think he was on that 2018 World Championship team from Canada, if I remember correctly,
Yeah.
with Cale Makar and that whole group. Robert Thomas, there's another one.
Yeah, I mean-
nice player there. How has Sundqvist been doing for the Blues? Oscar
Oscar De La Hoya. He's a boxer.
Sundqvist.
Sundqvist. We've got a lot of foreign nationals on our team that
Well, the thing about Oscar is, he came here with Minnesota as well. Big body, really good playoff performer.
Yep.
Really can kind of control the boards and does a nice job with the one-on-one battles, and is good in that. I am looking forward to watching that series, but I just think Winnipeg, they're not going to let that happen again.
Yeah.
I think they're going to go to the conference final.
secret weapon coming through. In addition, 8
And they're gonna
President's
lose.
Trophy winners have been eliminated in the first round of the playoffs.
Did Mom say that?
Mom said that.
God, she's
She's good.
She
gotta
needs
produce
to
it.
call
So
in.
good.
Yeah.
We need a
So
call-in
Yeah,
segment.
I'll send her the link. She'll be on
Okay.
in a flash.
So there you go.
Yeah.
We'll be watching.
I
the Blues.
appreciate you asking about the Blues,
No,
though.
for sure,
Yeah,
for sure.
thank
I
you.
didn't.
Thank
I
you
didn't
for
mean. I kind of got ahead of myself. I didn't mean to forget that. Here's an interesting series. No, I know. I mean that. An interesting series that everybody is blowing off the Devils. I know they're hurt,
Yep.
but they are completely being
The Hughes Bros.
well, we got an injury there.
Yeah.
You know, so like I don't know. Like I think Carolina wins, but I think New Jersey's pretty damn good.
You think so?
Yes. I mean,
I know I have some buddies, I have some friends that are rooting for the Devils, so part of me kind of wants to maybe see a little bit of an upset there on that
Easter
end too.
weekend, rooting for the Devils.
but the mother load of them all in the East is that there's actually 2 mother load series that I just bow down to. Ottawa and Toronto. There has been nothing cooler, in my opinion, than the Canadian national anthem in Ottawa. When they got that guy in the Mountie suit singing it, it's so good.
Yep.
But I think the vitriol from the Ottawa Senators fans toward the Leafs and the jealousy is next level.
Yeah.
Remember when those teams with Daniel Alfredson and Heatley and all those years when they were just like going to the conference finals and the cup year after, they were so good but so close but couldn't get it done. This has been now a long rebuilding process for that community. Travis Green, interestingly, kind of unceremoniously run out of Vancouver like every other coach gets run out over there for some reason. And he's landed on solid footing there in Ottawa and has been doing a great job. That series is going to be wild.
Yep.
I think the Leafs might have too much, but you know what? Brady Tkachuk might say no. Maybe he'll start a fight right off the shoot. How about this one?
Gotta love a good Canadian battle.
This is the other mother load of a matchup. Panthers and Lightning.
Good Canadian battle and a good Florida battle.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love it.
If you look at those that pick games, a number I've got here, 82% say that Tampa's going to win.
Wow.
I think they're sneaky good. And I think the one thing that team has done, it's been Brisebois terrific as a GM. One thing I think that's been overlooked is how they have rebuilt within a championship run. Their window didn't close. It stayed open, and they've retooled. Gone is Sergachev. Gone is Stamkos. In comes Gensel. And they continue to rebuild that team, and they continue. I think they have the best coach in hockey. You know what I'm talking about? John Cooper.
Yeah, year in, year out.
Yeah.
He's the best coach.
Yeah.
He Four Nations coach for Canada. The dude is a coach. He knows what he's doing. His teams are always there. I think they win that series too. The reason why it matters is that's the defending Cup champions. You know.
Yeah.
It seems
Is
like
Matthew Tkachuk coming back? Is he coming back from injury for the playoffs? I know he was on IR until the playoffs. I don't know if he's back.
I don't know if he's fully back yet, but that's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah.
he just earns players' respect, I think. That's what I gather. Like he seems like there's coaches out there where I don't know, I can get the spidey sense that the team doesn't really love, you know, but he seems to command respect from every player that he coaches.
No question. And the one thing is they are banged up.
Yeah.
But they are, you know, keep in mind when you play into close to the end of June, and then you have to get back on the horse, and then you got a bunch of guys that are playing in the Four Nations.
Yep.
They need a break. That happens a lot, and we'll see what happens.
Do you
there.
think that the coaches will hold players out of the Four Nations next year?
I don't think they can.
Okay.
I think it's just too good for the game. I mean,
Are they
such
gonna
a
do it
great
next year?
thing.
what's that?
They're going to do the Olympics next year, right?
Next Olympics or next year. So yeah.
Oh, sorry.
And they're going
Yeah.
pro players, so that would set that up. So I think the playoffs for the NHL, all 8 of these teams. I mean, in the East, when you think about Boston having the fewest points at 75, we have just garbage dumpster type teams in the West with those 3. Shocking that Nashville struggled as much as they did. I'd say 2. Chicago and San Jose, oof, they've got a lot of work to do. They do. But the playoffs are going to be great for both the NBA and the NHL. It's the best time of the sporting year in my book. And then meanwhile, the NFL is going to try and wiggle in a draft in the middle of all these playoff games. Like, do we really care about an NFL draft as much as it appears as the people that are at those? Where do we go with that? Do you guys care?
I always love the draft. I don't mind it. I mean,
I do.
I think it's fun.
I think it'll be fun that it's in Green Bay this year. As much as we aren't necessarily a fan of them. I think it'll be a fun experience that they'll put on over there.
Can I ask a question?
Go for it.
Here it comes.
What is with this Packer thing in Minnesota? It's a really weird obsession. I don't understand it.
The border
Who
battle.
fucking cares? Seriously.
You know what's funny? I just saw something on X the other day where they're interviewing Green Bay Packers fan. Not one of them said their biggest rival was the Vikings.
They don't care.
They don't care.
They say
memo
the
to
Bears.
The
Minnesota.
Bears,
Yeah.
the Bears, they hate Dallas, the Bears, and they don't. That's it. Dallas and the Bears.
So
And Kansas City.
Wh-
Those
what,
three.
What happens is two things, and that's so. But that Doc is 100% accurate.
100%.
That's
What
also
happens-
why Minnesota. It's a big thing. For
What
Minnesotans,
happens is-
because you're not really the real rival.
There's only one word. There's one word.
Say it.
Jealousy.
Jealousy.
100%.
And it's straight up jealousy, childish. And then the other.
It's why
That might be
everyone
a
hates
stretch on the
Edina. It's why everyone
I'm
hates
gonna go on-
Edina.
I had
it's those colors.
I had an
It's
epiphany.
those colors.
That green and
I was
yellow.
talking to somebody once that was from the Green Bay, Milwaukee area. And they said, we don't understand what this thing is about this hatred toward we don't say those things to Minnesota fans when they're at a bar in and around our we just don't. And I've never experienced it, to be honest with you. But just the low class, almost low bred hatred for Green Bay.
what are you
It's
trying to tell me?
it's a bad look for Minnesota. Just stop. Win a fucking game. Win a Super Bowl. Do that.
We
How about that?
Hey, prediction.
And
we
I'm-
will.
and
we
I'm
will
a
hate.
Vikings fan.
We will hate the Packers less in as we win about 5 out of 5 Jerome Bardies. Lombardis over the next 5
Gotta
seasons.
win a few. And more
5 out of 5.
importantly, how about getting to it? Since it's been
This is the
get
year.
this, almost 50 years.
50 years since we've been
50 years.
Bills, Vikings, Super Bowl.
50 years.
Oh boy,
Can you
Let's
believe
go.
that?
Let's go.
borderline Cubs territory.
They played for 4 within, what was that, an 8-year period.
Yeah.
And that was you guys weren't even close to a thought in your parents' minds.
No.
Your parents were figuring out what their next history test was going to be.
Oh my gosh.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
this is real.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway. So that brings me to the whole Rodgers thing.
Okay. Hey, wait a second.
This is the last minute of play in the period.
Let's not talk about Rodgers. No, just kidding.
I got that. That was a good
Some
one.
final
That
points.
was a good one. No, that's not the last minute. You're just doing
No,
that. Right?
I'm just doing
okay.
it.
Okay.
He was just doing. He didn't want to talk about it. I still stand by what I said. What was this about 2 months ago? That there's some sort of deal done, and it won't be announced till after June 1st.
Interesting.
Because if it was, he really only has one place to play at this stage. And the other team he's talking to, who is that?
I don't even remember off the top of my head.
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Okay. Why isn't that deal done? He's even outwardly said, I'm not holding out for money. I'll play for $10 million. Oh, really? Well, the $10 million is the same number that the Vikings gave Sam Darnold last year. Okay. There's still that. I don't know. I should look it up, but there's something to do.
Who's the reporter from The Athletic? Diana Rossini or something like that?
Yeah.
She's the one that's still high on that. She's got your take as well.
So I believe it works this way. If you've been released by a team,
Yep.
and there's some sort of guaranteed money in there or whatever, and you sign with somebody else, you don't get that money. You have to wait till after June 1st. I don't know if that's the rule, so just qualify that, but there's something weird around that, and that date for some reason stands out. But I don't think he's going to say, and I don't think the Vikings are going to sit here and say, well, we got to wait, we just got to see how things play out. All you hear them say is, we're having dialogues. I talk to KOC a lot. We text. We've known each other since we've
Talk
thrown
outside of football.
We've been doing that forever since we met in San Diego and worked out there together when we were young. Blah blah blah. So we've also been told ultimately it's KOC's decision. Okay, So I
Oh,
still,
really?
Yes.
Who did we hear that from?
Yes.
Multiple times.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that the quarterback whisperer right now, today, with the only guy that's really left out there that's not an arena football or USFL quarterback is Ryan Tannehill, who hasn't played for a season and a half or whatever it is.
Yep.
You're telling me that he's coming into this season with a rookie with a repaired knee, I've said this a million times, and ripping. Seriously. Yeah. There's zero chance.
When you put it that way, Wags, damn it.
I think he's on to something.
Son of a bee.
And he better wear number 12. I don't want 8. I don't want any of that. And then Cousins is going to go to Pittsburgh.
Really?
That's what I think.
Wild take. I mean, I think
I have no proof of it.
Would they?
I'm just saying, like, if you connect dots and look at stuff.
What about bringing Kirk O'Chains back to MN?
Can't happen.
cannot
No, I
happen.
mean,
Kirk O'Chains.
the only reason it can't happen, because what his role would be.
Correct.
Backup.
It's not going to work. Now, if Aaron Rodgers came in, it's starter.
Right.
Bingo.
And pupil. And he's the one that says over and over again, you know what, Brett wasn't the nicest to me, and he didn't really let me into the circle.
But look at how that turned out.
But then I worked with, have you watched Jordan Love play the game?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's pretty good.
He is pretty good.
And he looks a lot like Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah.
who spent a lot of time with him.
Yep.
And he really nurtured him as a quarterback. I wasn't in the room, but allegedly. And he has said that he would do that with J.J. McCarthy. I think it's invaluable. I don't know.
Okay, now we have to hit this one.
If I get this right,
It's the last minute of play in the period.
if I get that right, am I a genius?
Yeah.
Reluctant genius.
Reluctant. Wow. Wow.
Ouch.
Ouch.
I'll take anything.
You'll take anything.
No,
you
but
can get.
I've been the only guy saying that.
The contrarian.
Anywhere.
The contrarian.
And you know what? The contrarian could be completely wrong.
Yeah.
So they've only got a few handfuls of draft picks. Do they trade back and get more?
I've heard that there might be difficulty even trading back.
Right.
I think you're
No
right.
takebacks?
I think you're right, but they would want to. I think they would want to because this draft from like 20 to 100 is pretty even.
It's not automatic, but also when you think about, they filled a lot of their voids with cap space that they opened up, and they're able to use, and so they're not needing the draft as much to fill holes.
Yep.
I think they've proven maybe that the draft hasn't been overly friendly to them in the past, and there's a million different ways you can build the team, and they're doing this one through free agency.
Yep.
And some of the picks that have hung and that have latched on. Is the team aging? Maybe a little bit. But you can get young pretty quick. Their window is now.
It is.
I think the offensive line.
5 out of 5.
Defensive line. To me, they've pulled even with at least the Lions. The team that kind of freaks me out a little bit in that division is the Chicago Bears. Like, I think they're going to be really good this year. And I think they're not going to be automatic to walk through, is what I'm saying. So watch out for the Bears. I think the Packers regress and go back a step. I think they flip-flop with the Bears, and the Bears could become a playoff team.
Okay.
And I think the Vikings and Lions duke it out.
Wow.
Another Duke.
I like that.
And if the Vikings have 12, they'll win
Okay. Interesting.
the division.
Last takes, boys.
12 wins.
That's my last take.
No Twins takes.
Oh, Luke Keishel up. He will be a fan favorite. The thing that's really sad to me is that the apathy that has settled into this market is really, really scary. Like, nobody cares about this team at all. And some of those young guys are looking kind of good to me, actually.
Yep.
And you know what? The Sheriff had a terrific outing yesterday in Atlanta. Griffin Jacks was one of the most reliable, effective relievers in baseball last year, is really struggling to get his footing this year, and he is getting lit up like the proverbial Christmas tree, which is shocking to me. But by and large, I kind of liked what I saw. Even though they lost, I liked the game that they played in Atlanta last night.
Well, we see. I mean, they're running it back today too.
It's hockey.
I guess I got all the
hockey.
last-
It's
Go
hockey
ahead,
and
go
basketball.
ahead.
No one's watching Twins.
No
right
one's
now.
watching Twins baseball.
Not until hockey's
Atlanta was
over.
sold
Only
out, and
basketball.
across town they had a play-in game. We get like 8,000 announced.
Well, from the Metasports League studios
Final
and the
takes.
DigiFan podcast,
Sorry,
thank
I
you,
took them
boys.
all.
You're
It's all
good.
good. Final takes done.
Done.
Join
Done and
us.
dusted.
Join us every
Friday
or
or
Saturday
Saturday.
now.
Or Sunday.
All right. Peace.
We'll catch you
Cheers.
guys later.
We out.